catering services. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed, please do so and like and share the video with your friends who also learn. Since you are here, join me as I teach you how we came up with this beautiful traditional wedding cake for one of my lovely students. Stay tuned, click on the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. So we have a student bake her own cake, brought it in, and we had to cover up the cake for her. And it was a 13 inches square fruit cake. Just imagine the weight. So we had to just flip this after covering the top with our fondant onto our board. Then we cover the sides and make our sharp edges. We had to adjust the cake because it was a bit way off the board and we had to just push it back. So we rolled out our panels separately, mostly with square cakes. The best way to cover them is in panels, different panels. So we rolled out 4 different panels, allow that to dry slightly, not too dry, because if you have your fondant over drying, you end up having patches in the walls, creating your sharp edges, or even creating a cracked effect whilst creating your sharp edges. So we just let it dry for about 3 minutes in our air-conditioned room, partially. Then we started just applying it. So as you can see, it's a bit firm. As you can see, it's a bit firm and a bit stable, not too soft and falling off. So this was way taller than the height, so it just ended up falling on the cake. So we covered our 4 sides, and when we were done, we reached out for our smoother and we just did our sharp edges. So we're just going to cover our very last part, then we smoothen out, then we start creating our corner edges. So all we need to do is just press the sides together after covering each corner. So you can overlap them, then you just press them together. So we reached out for our smoother after we're done covering the sides, and we just pulled the top to meet the sides to meet the top. Yes. So afterwards, we just decided to press gently. We pressed gently till our sides were just easy to cut off with our smoother. You just do a gentle press. You don't need to put in much strength or push in so much effort. It's just cake. You don't need to fight your cake, you just need to cover it. So after pressing gently, we just use our shovel to cut off the excess. That's our shovel. After cutting off the excess, this is how clean your edge should look like. This is how clean your edge should look like after cutting off the excess. So we gently press the sides to meet with the top. That's what we are doing now. We just do a gentle press. Then when we are done, we turn it and we do the second side as well. So you're just going to gently press it, making sure our fondant smoother is doing our cutting. So we gently press them together. We press gently till the fondant becomes so soft and thin. Then we can just either use our shovel to just cut off the excess, or our fondant smoother itself to cut off the excess. So when we are done, we just pass our fondant smoother on the very top edge. So we just pass it there to make sure our side is also meeting the very top. That's our flipped cake, the top fondant covering. So here, when we get to this stage, the same process. We're just going to cut every edge with our fondant smoothers. So we use 2 smoother. Then make sure you clean off any excess fondant after cutting, because if you don't, the fondant left on your fondant smoother is going to create an indentation or a print on your covered cake or your covered fondant. That the fondant on your smoother is going to leave a dent on your covering. So we decided to use an impression mat to do a design on our fondant. That after rolling the fondant, we used an impression mat to create the effect we have on it. It's more like a wood effect, to create that effect on our fondant before covering our cake with it. So with this, don't worry about your edges, because nothing is going to happen to it, and once you pass your smoother on it, you're not going to lose the effect or design. So we are now going to trim off the excess edges at the very top to create our sharp edges at the top. So all we do is we press gently for our fondant at the side to meet with the fondant at the very bottom. That's the one we covered our cake before flipping onto. Then in doing so, we still make sure our edges are being super sharp and being corrected. So we just press gently, then we cut off the excess. We press, we cut, we press, we cut. We get our super clean, super sharp edges. We want our edges to be very neat, though we are going to do some mold designs, but we wouldn't want to have that bad edges. No, I love working with perfect cakes and neat cakes, so everything has to be perfect. So we just press so the sides meet with the top very well before we cut. So that's what we are going to do with our four sides. After cutting them and making sure every part is perfect, then we cut the very base before flipping onto our main cake board. The cake is heavy, so we wouldn't want to be risking flipping here and there, cutting, flipping. No, I wouldn't want that stress. So we just cut the excess at the base. This is how we do the cutting. So with the help of your fondant smoother and your shovel, you're just going to pass the shovel at the very edge from the inside, so you get a clean cut like this. Then just take it off. So we just use our shovel as a guide and as smoother, then we just pass it through. Then this is how we cut it. So easy. So I decided to do a video, a close-up video for you to see how it's done. So you see, we just gently pass it at the very edge. We use the cake as our guide as the very edge, and we just cut everything out. So when you are done, we smoothen and cut off any excess that are sharp edges. It's very important because the edges has to be very clean, super clean and neat. So afterwards, we applied royal icing onto our board, positioned our board on our cake. Then I needed more hands because the very first one really stressed me. So I asked for help and Bridget helped me out in turning it. So we just flipped the cake gently onto our main board. So we turned the cake and ta-da, here we have our beautiful covered cake. And as you can see, the edges and everything are popping and they are looking so neat and clean. Please, square cake shouldn't be a headache. It shouldn't be a barrier. You have to try covering square cake because it's so easy. It's very, very, very easy. If you don't have love for square cake, please start having love for it because it's very easy and I'd love you to try it out. Just cram coat your cake and you're good to go. So we decided to do the finishing with our mold design. So we decided to do a mold design at the very top edges and the bottom edges. Then we do a beautiful locker in front. We are creating something more like a briefcase with a pillow design and a round cake with some beads around it. So we wanted to create something that will be beautiful and look more like a detailed suitcase or a detailed something. So we passed a shovel around the side to create that impression. So the shovel we used for that particular impression we created. So we're just going to stick our molds to the whole top edges. Our edges are clean, but we're just going to add in the mold and make our final or finished design. So after making our very first canal, we decided to add in this detailed mold to make it look more real and more realistic. Afterwards, we painted the whole edges gold. The extra mold design we added at the very edges and top, we decided to paint it gold to make it stand out and look more beautiful and professional and just so classy for the engagement ceremony. We wanted something fit for a royal celebration. Yes, an engagement party also needs cake. An engagement ceremony also needs cake. So we can just go in for this beautiful traditional cake look for our couple. So we just added our whole mold design, and because of the painting, I decided to use tissue so I don't end up staining my board with gold design or gold dust or gold, let's say, painting. So I decided to add tissue to the very base so it guides me or it prevents any spills or any accident from our gold. That's our gold dust, and alcohol. So that quantity also depends on you. The more the alcohol, the more lighter it becomes. So you have to make sure your gold and alcohol are a bit proportional, same quantity. So we decided to balance the work. Whilst we were busy applying the molds at the very edges, we were also painting. So once the mold comes in, we just apply, then we continue our painting. So please, if you are just like me, you are so scared of painting your gold works on your cake, you can paint them off your cake. That you can paint them after taking out your mold, you can paint them on your parchment paper on or even on your cake board. One shot, then you gently lift it up with your shovel and up, stick it to your cake. But if you are good enough and you have a steady hand, you can paint directly on your cake. That's a plus for you. But we decided to do a gentle painting because I'm not so good with this kind of painting. I didn't want to mess up, so I had to do a gentle painting that's super gentle and super steady. So you have to paint all the detailing gold. Afterwards, we just went to our second tier, pillow. With pillow cake, we have a full video of how we covered a pillow cake on this page. So I didn't want to bore you guys with carving of pillow cake all over again. So if you've not watched that video, once you click on my page, that's the very first video you get to see. Please watch that video as well on how to cover our pillow cake. So after pushing in our dowels, we just gently add our pillow to it. So we just push in our pillow. So we dowel the cake first before adding our pillow cake to it. So we gently position that. With the base, we normally fill that with royal ice, and royal icing do all those covering up. So we decided to do a beautiful lace effect at the very base of our pillow. Then we already have our pre-cut out blossoms. We have the medium and the smaller size, which has been pre-cut and dried for over a month now. So all we did is we decided to stick that to our pillow dummy as the edge design. So we decided to stick that to the very edges. So we are done. So we decided to stick each medium size, then we fill in with the smaller one. That's what we did with our design. So as you can see, gradually we are still filling up and going. We are filling up gradually. We are doing a gradual filling up. We didn't want to just speed up and mess up the whole thing. So we try to do a gentle filling with a medium, then we add in the smaller ones to just fill up any gap there. So after doing this design, then we decided to build the surface of our pillow as well. We decided to have this cake so beautiful and special for our bride. We decided to just surprise her. She brought the cake and she was like, M.O.D, please surprise me. So we decided to just surprise her with something beautiful and unique. And of course, engagement cake should have a little bit of traditional something there. So we rushed off to town to get our beads to complement the design we did. We didn't want any floral something because engagement is all about tradition. So we continued filling in, and we also doweled our second pillow cake. We had to make sure we secure it too as well before we proceed to adding our third tier, then our fourth tier. Doweling your cake is very, very necessary, and it's very important to keep your cake at one part or one side. It doesn't move them, it doesn't go around shaking or shifting from one place to the other. So doweling your cakes are very important. So you're just going to keep filling in till we are done with all those petty designs we wanted at the very edge of our pillow pan. Then we continue to add in our pearls. So we are almost done with two sides of our pillow, and the cake is looking just so beautiful. The detailing, the design, the pearls, the blossoms there in different sizes. So we sticked this up with our edible glue. So you apply the edible glue to your blossom, then you gently stick it to your cake. That's what we do. But if it's not sticking, you can use an edible something to stick it up, either your fondant sticky paste. You can mash up fondant with a little bit of water to form a sticky paste, then you can use that to apply your blossoms as well. So here we were done doing all those designs. We decided to just pipe our realizing and push in our third tier, but some of the pearls in there were causing trouble. So as you can see, there's a pearl there which wasn't allowing our cake to rest on our pillow. So I decided to just take that pearl off and adjust it to make sure our cake sits gently on our pillow cake. Afterwards, we decided to work on our mold and also add in our very last tier. So we needed royal lighting and edible glue for this very last tier. Everything was covered, and yes, here we go, and stenciled. In our previous videos too, we have how we stenciled our cake. So here we have our 4-tier traditional wedding cake. So guys, let me show you how I do my mold quickly, a very short video. I add in my corn flour and I dab it inside to make sure my corn flour has been well coated in my mold. I don't use white fat because white fat attracts more dirt. Corn flour is best when you are working with mold, and especially if it's white. So after taking out your fondant, you just create a sausage. That's how fast I work. So you create a sausage, then you just put it in your mold, as you can see what I'm doing. Then you gently push it in and you pull out the sausage as you fill in to make sure your fondant is filling every part of the mold. I do not roll the whole fondant on the surface and start cutting it out. It takes a lot of time and it stresses you out. So with this, once you are done, you take off the excess and you're filling, and here you have your beautiful mold. You don't need to stress yourself putting in a lot of fondant or pushing in a lot of fondant and rolling out with your rolling pin. It's not necessary, it's not needed. You create a sausage with your fondant, then you fill in, and here you have your beautiful mold. Please do give this a try because it's so easy and it's fast. You wouldn't waste more time doing this. So here we have our beautiful mold, and it's so easy to make. So please give it a try. So we decided to decorate our I started taking off some pearls because it was really becoming a problem to our cake. So we covered the whole base with our rose mold design and the top with another beautiful design. Here we are going to paint that in gold as well because we wanted the base and the middle tier to be gold, then the second and the very first tier, the third and the very first tier to be white. So we added this beautiful design to the very edges of our cake. When we were done, we just did our painting again. Then our cake was so ready to be delivered to our couple on their big day. So we decided to fill in with a little bit of that smaller molds to complement the design we were doing. So I added in our very last rose mold. Then our beautiful engagement cake was so ready to be completed with our final painting and embellishment. That's our final designing. So here we have the lovely cake. Don't you love this design already? We are not done, but I know you are liking this. Please like the video and share with your friends to also learn something new. It's so beautiful creating beautiful cake, creating beautiful masterpieces for couples, and I'd love to share every journey with you. If you're still watching, please click on the like button, and if you've not subscribed, please do so. We try to paint a mold design in gold, edible gold painting. So we did our final painting. You have to be gentle because I don't love painting on cakes. I paint separately, then I apply that to my cake because I wouldn't want to stain the cake and go through the stress of cleaning off the paint. So let me show you this trick. Anytime you make a cake and you saw or you end up painting any part that wasn't supposed to be painted in the first place, you reach out for your tissue and your vinegar, and with that you're going to wipe off any stain from your cake. You can either use your brush, a very clean brush, and your vinegar to brush off any stain, or your tissue and your vinegar to do that cleaning. So this is our final painting design. That's for the very top design, and I have to be super careful because I only want to paint the cake. The cake is not supposed to be in any gold design, so we decided to paint it gently and carefully. And we use the bright gold. The bright gold is a little bit more brighter than other brands, and it's edible. Everything was edible. So we decided to do our final painting. Then our fourth here, beautiful wedding cake. Yummy wedding cake. Super neat wedding cake was ready. So we decided to add in our beads to complement the final design. So we decided to secure the beads with floral wire, a white floral wire, so we don't end up having our beads coming off or our floral wire being visible. We decided to go in for our white floral wire. Then we decided to add in the wrist bead as well. And try to add in the next one to hang from the pillow to the very bottom tier. We love weddings and we love working on wedding cakes. This is an engagement cake, and I'm surely bringing you a beautiful and classy design for the final wedding cake as well. Don't miss out. So this is the engagement cake, which was beautifully done, beautifully executed, and trust me, it was so beautiful. The wedding, everything was so on point, everything was beautiful, and we loved it. We love to be a part of your big day, and we'd be grateful and honored to bring out our very best during your engagement or wedding ceremony. We're just a call away to surprise you on your big day, and I bet you love this beautiful piece we brought together for our lovely couple. I can't wait to come up with that beautiful design for your wedding this weekend. Thanks so much for joining me. I am Michael of M.O.D's Catering Services. If you've not subscribed yet, please do so. And you can also share this with your friends to also learn. Learning is fun. Sharing is caring. You can also like the video as well. Please sit back and enjoy some scenes from the engagement ceremony. Thanks so much.
Your groom's family, your husband's family to know you can talk, you can breathe, you can receive the thing as well. Please mention your name.
My name is Loretta. My name is Loretta.
I'm an Azwairi no